This is One on One. You're looking at Buzz Bisinger, who is the author of Father's Day, A Journey into the Mind and Heart of My Extraordinary Son. Good to see you, Buzz.
Good to see you.
Buzz is also the author of a little book called
Friday Night Lights.
Yes, you admit that.
I do.
Let's talk about this book. This book is about a very powerful story about you and your son, Zach. You and your son, Zach, and your other son, Jerry,
Yes.
twins.
Right.
They were born 3.5 months premature.
That's right. That's right.
And Jerry, physically, mentally, everything fine?
Yeah, which was kind of a miracle. They were born in 1983. Jerry was 1 pound 14 ounces, the first one out by 3 minutes. Zach was 1 pound 11 ounces and had tragically some trace brain damage.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this is that you talk in the book in a very honest and candid way about your relationship with Zach and about the fact that you were not the greatest dad and you were not there in ways that you felt you should have been there.
Right.
And then you go on this trip. You go on a 12-day trip with Zach when he was 24.
That's right.
Describe the trip.
Well, you know, I wanted to do something special with Zach. His mother's family was going to Spain, and he doesn't like flying long distances like that, so I had him for 2 weeks, and I wanted to do something special, something that had resonated with me, something special like I'd done with my other kids, and I came up with this idea of driving across the country. Of course, there was a slight glitch, and Zach said he doesn't really like being in cars.
And by the way, go back, and Zach's, just so we can have a sense of it, Zach's challenge
Right.
is IQ.
His IQ is in the range of the 70s. His biggest challenge is mental comprehension.
Okay.
He ranges in the age of an 8 to 10-year-old.
Does not like cars.
Not crazy about cars. He at one point said, "Why don't we fly?" And you know, but I wasn't trying to torture him. I knew that if once we got on the road and if we structured the trip the right way, he would have fun. Now, and the way to structure it, because of his brain works, it's all in the concrete. So we only went back to places that he was familiar with and where we'd live, because his recall of events is eerie. I mean, he remembers things, dates, times, people, places from 20 to 25 years ago.
Talk to us about what you took away from that trip, and then why you opted to write this book, Father's Day.
Well, I mean, what I took away from this trip is I began to wonder who really was impaired. Was it him or was it me? I mean, I'm volatile. I get frustrated easily. You know, I get lost and I sort of fly off the handle. Zach was very steady. In the storm, he showed tremendous empathy, and more than empathy, I got the sense that Zach intuited that his dad needed help. I obviously was feeling stressed about the trip. What will we talk about? And I think he saw that his job was to kind of, you know, calm me down, settle me down, just soothe me, you know, whether it was saying everything will be all right or, you know, patting me on the back or just feeling the splay of his fingers on my shoulder.
You said that on some level you felt disconnected to Zach.
And I did, right.
For how long?
Yeah, it wasn't something all the time. I love Zach to death. I always felt, you know, whether the intentions were good, the delivery may have been bad. But I think it reached an acute point really when he was 13. You know, when he was young, he was beautiful, and so you have this sense somehow everything's going to work out. And he would show moments of great lucidity, but he was living with me when he was 13, and
Showing shots of him there the whole time.
Yeah.
That's okay. Go ahead.
And I couldn't take it. I couldn't get through to him. And his mother was moving to a very nice suburb in New Jersey, and I knew that was the place for him. I couldn't get through to him. I mean, I tried, but I couldn't. I just felt there was this wall between us, whereas, you know, with Jerry, you could kibitz about football and baseball.
Your
and
other son.
Schoolwork, yeah.
How much guilt did you have?
Well, you have natural guilt because whether it's rational or not, you blame yourself. You know, what did I do wrong? How come this happened? How was I in some way responsible? Was it my sort of eternal pessimism? Was it my eternal negativity? You know, as I say, it's not rational, but you always have guilt. I mean, you do.
Would you take I mean, obviously, I asked you before you sat down, but I said, what kind of reaction have you gotten to the book? And the excerpts that I've read, I thought, wow, this guy really put it out there.
Right.
You know, everyone says, what would I do if? I had a child who was challenged in this way, and people think they know and they're clueless. They have no idea.
No, I think that's right.
This was not hypothetical for you, and you put it out there. My question is this. When I asked you that, you said some people have been angry at me for being so candid and putting it out there like somehow you did something wrong. What did they want you to do? Say you didn't do those things? You weren't distant?
I don't really know. And frankly, people who have children who are disabled, to a fault, have said, thank you for writing this. You express thoughts that we feel we cannot express, because if we express them, people interpret it as you don't love your child, which is ridiculous. I do love my child. And it's true of all parents. You have dreams, you have aspirations. And when you have a child who is disabled, there's frustration, there's rage. You feel cheated, you know he's been cheated. You go through a gamut of emotions. And I wasn't going to hide that. The purpose of this book was not to make me the hero of my own story. Most memoirs do that. I could have done that. I could have said to the world, I was a perfect father. I try to be a good father, but I made mistakes. I would live inside my head. I'm a writer. I'm very career-oriented. I know that. I always, as I say, I always loved Zach, but I didn't do the right thing, and I was going to express it. If people respond, that's great. If they don't, that's their choice. But I'm not going to write a dishonest book. I think most memoirs are dishonest, to tell you the truth.
How has it changed your relationship with Zach?
It definitely reinforced the bond. We had a good bond, but now I feel there's something inseparable about us. I feel that there is a common experience that we will share all of our lives. I certainly won't forget this trip. There are elements of it I will never forget. I saw things about Zach I'd never seen. As I said, empathy, his abilities of observation, little things I never thought he recognized. His need for independence, to give him as much independence as he possibly can, and his responsibility in handling. I really learned what character is. It's not intellect. It's not a big house. It's not even your moral stance. It's taking every ounce that you have within you, big or small, and making the most of it. And Zach has done that, and disabled kids do that. I don't think people know what a struggle it is for them, and what a struggle it can be for parents. These are not the children we ever imagined having, and anyone who thinks that they are, I mean, it's ludicrous. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and I'm not going to subscribe to the theory that these are God's little angels. That simply is not the case. Zach is a fantastic person. I admire him greatly, but, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
So it's so interesting. In the few seconds we have left, I ask you the cliche question I'm supposed to ask you. So what advice do you have for other parents? You even going to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I probably took too long, but I think, fathers, mothers, you got to reach acceptance earlier than I did, because I think with acceptance and reality of the situation comes appreciation of what they can do. With appreciation comes joy. It took me a long time to get there, but now I feel I haven't.
Buzz Bisinger, author of Father's Day. I want to thank you for being so honest, and I have a feeling you helped a lot of people.
Right. Just protect me when they come after me.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Caldwell College, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. QualCare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents. And by Verizon Communications. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.